Welcome to the Krish Marketing Podcast, your go-to resource for mortgage and real estate professionals as well as fellow marketers. Join your host, Krish Dokia, an award-winning Chief Marketing Officer at Kind Lending, LLC, bringing over 20 years of expertise in crafting successful marketing campaigns for billion-dollar organizations. Now sit back and relax while you listen to valuable insights and strategies to elevate your marketing game in the competitive world of real estate and mortgages.
Hi, welcome back to another episode of the Krish Marketing Podcast. This is episode number 10. Thank you so much for joining all of our real estate agents, all of our mortgage brokers, mortgage professionals, and marketing professionals that are listening and or watching this podcast today. And as always, we start off and end now with stay curious and keep marketing. So today we have an incredible guest, someone that I've been working with here at Kind Lending for just maybe 2 years or so, but someone that's been in the mortgage industry for over 23 years. Her name is Nichole Foster. She is one of our account executives here at Kind Lending. And she is no stranger to mortgage. She has a solid reputation. And as I've worked with Nichole and learned more about how she markets, it's just completely fascinating because she's done something very unique. A little bit more about Nichole. She has numerous accolades for contribution to this industry and has received the Rising Star Award from Household Finance. And she has made President's Club or Circle of Excellence at every organization she has represented through her career. So I want to welcome you to the show, Nichole.
Thank you, Krish, for having me.
You're very welcome. So tell us a little bit about, we have our show scripts and all these things. We have these questions, Nichole, and we try to keep this as natural as possible. And, I met you for the first time just last year. We'd been working together for over 2 years, but, and we worked at an organization that we both represented at different times, Stearns Lending years ago. But I met you last year, and you are a bundle of energy. You just keep going, and it's absolutely just fascinating to watch you kind of interact with people. I saw you interacting with a lot of your clients at our Vibe event last year, and you had to have been exhausted because you were just ear-to-ear smiles and just going from one place. I think I saw you zipping around the conference room there that day just to make sure everyone felt your presence, and it was felt. But I read an article, Nichole, that was in Insight Success, a wonderful article. It was a very heartfelt, transparent article. And, you go on to share not just your experience in the mortgage industry, but humanized yourself. And you talked about your childhood and the struggles. I personally have gone through, alcoholism and things, and I'm very open about my own personal struggles. And I think it makes it important to share and for people to connect. So why is it so important for you? And why was it in that article? Because it was well read. A lot of people read that article to share your life situations and your authenticity.
Well, first, Krish, I admire that you first overcame the alcoholism, and second, that you speak about it. I feel this is where we grow in our experiences, right? I was built to be transparent at all times. I feel my childhood allowed me to always look at the big picture in life, and it definitely has given me the gift to always listen to help. As an account executive, good, bad, ugly, pretty, it's our truth to our brokers, and I always tell it. It's all I know. Our history together with the broker is what makes us who we are. AEs should not want that first deal. They need that first deal to prove ourselves. We want to build that relationship. So I build it with my personal experiences. Why? Because we're all human. And that's what Glenn hired me to do, to go out there, to make the relationship. And my goal is so they remember me. Our team at Kind Lending, we are nothing fake about a borrower's business. You know this firsthand, Krish. We all treat every transaction as if it's our own families, and it starts from the top. I constantly strive to build a good team. I've always had a team since I've been in wholesale. And you want to build a team so good that you don't know who the leader is. And it's hard in wholesale. It's hard on this desk. I'm not even going to lie. But we were built on this team to truly, truly care. And I think I do chalk it up to my childhood. And that fight that was instilled in me long ago makes for a kick-ass AE today, and even a killer team that we are all built for the mortgage broker. We see the big picture. It's funny because my 14-year-old son says, it's street smart, right? You either got it or you don't. It's that simple. It's like baseball, but there is crying in a mortgage.
Absolutely. What's cool about working here at Kind, and we've all represented other organizations, and we have some, the goods and the bads, everything. Every organization has those, but from the top down, that transparency, that authenticity. Now, our CEO founder Glenn, he's more than just our CEO and founder. He's our friend, right? And he himself, when he wrote that book Integrity last year, which was a bestseller, and the reason why is authentic. It starts out with him talking about his own personal struggles. You cannot just relate to the billionaire, the millionaire, or whatever based on just success, right? What was that story and that path that folks took to get there? And that is what is relatable. I love to read, and I've my first success book, I'm sure, Nichole, you read a lot of those as well, was Robert Kiyosaki's, right? What was it? Oh my God. It wasn't the 4 Quadrants, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And, his childhood, this guy was like, the son of a superintendent or something. And he, grew up in Hawaii. And I looked at all of his life, but he never talked about his struggles. All he talked about was, I've got this rich dad and a poor dad, and I followed that suit of success. And that was great, but there was not as much applicable to me. Now, our brokers and real estate agents and everyone have come through this really difficult, challenging year, we all must say. And yet you have a lot of folks that have succeeded. And you have to wonder, folks that are like kind of attracted to your business model, right? That you go out there and you serve your clients, are attracted to the struggles and the authenticity that you put out there. So I love that article, and we will be sharing that article in the podcast, so anyone that's interested can read it. So I kind of want to move into us, right? What we do. We're mortgage. We are serving communities. We're serving through brokers, and you have, from a marketing perspective, you have built. I've never seen an AE do what you do, okay? Because it's so tough. Because everything out there is meant to be B2C, right? All the social media platforms. And you have cultivated these platforms to work for you. And I don't know how you did it. I'm sure it was a lot of meticulous work and thought that went through this. But how much time do you dedicate to your audience on building these thousands of followers across social media? I mean, how much time do you dedicate to that?
Well, I was around before social media, so it's something that I always done. I'm more like the boots on the ground AE. So 20 years ago, we didn't have social media. We had our pagers where our brokers would call into a phone service, and we would have to call them and then get the message would come back to us, right, on our pagers, and then we would call on our cell phone. So it's all boots on the ground. I feel like let me just share this story, okay, about branding, because as a young child, my dream was to have a Mercedes-Benz. And we all know that I didn't grow up on maybe the right side of the street. So we didn't have a lot of money growing up. We didn't even have a house growing up. But I knew when I grew up that I was going to be different. I knew that I was going to have that black Mercedes-Benz. So my first $20 million month as a subprime AE, I went out and I bought that Mercedes-Benz. And I slapped a personalized plate on it. And at a 26-year-old AE, I was branded. I was branded as Just Docket.
Oh, you got it. Have you kept it the whole time?
Huh?
Have you kept it the whole time?
No, no, I don't think it would run today, but I kept the plate. I put it on another car. I still use a handler today on Instagram, but I branded myself years ago. So social media is just a newer tool for me, and Absolutely. I'll utilize it any way I can. I just think it's great.
Isn't that so true about personal branding, though? Because when we talk about personal branding, we think it's just a logo, or it's just, you slap it on social media. But social media exists. The personal branding exists outside of social media, and social media is just a tool to exemplify it, right? I love that. And you and I have a knack for cars. We've had some commentary back and forth about cool cars. We love cars.
Car.
So what is, pivot real quick, what is your go-to social media today as an account executive?
I like all of them. I like LinkedIn, of course. I like Facebook. I put a lot of Q&As on Facebook. I feel that as an AE, if we share our everyday wins, our everyday, not so much wins, just that good, bad, ugly, everything. I share a lot of that on Facebook. I do more inspirational on LinkedIn. I feel that each platform has its own. I'm just now getting into Reels. I think they're fun on the Instagram. These all started out as personal. So I believe on Facebook is the only platform that we have our actual team foster. The other places I kind of mix in personal and work both on those. So I guess my go-to would really be Facebook.
You're speaking my language. And so, if you ever decide to pivot into marketing, totally work for you. Because I personally started this, we have the Krish Marketing Podcast, and I just started doing TikToks, right? And and Reels. You may have seen some, and I commented on, I think it was yesterday, Meta announced that Facebook is testing like sharing to threads. And one of the comments I made was, I am in total agreement that every platform ought to have a little bit unique designed content. Maybe it's the same across 5 channels or 5 platforms, but slightly tweaked and different to satisfy those audiences. And so it does have to be the same. Sorry, it doesn't need to be the same across everything.
Right. I never understood why people would share the same thing on LinkedIn, the same thing on Instagram, because you pretty much have your same followers, right? If they're going to follow you on one, they're most likely going to follow you on the other.
Except for LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn's slightly different because it was meant to always be this job thing, right? And it was meant to be
you feel like it's kind of changing?
I had shared,
like the weirdos and the dating. It's not a dating site.
You don't have to worry about your DMs.
People would understand that.
I remember sharing a picture of my family. I do that quite frequently on LinkedIn.
It's great. I love that.
And I remember about 3 or 4 years ago, one of my old previous colleagues, she messaged me. She goes, "This is supposed to be a professional platform. Why are you sharing pictures of your kids?" I'm like, get over it. They're cute, right? So it's all good.
It's me. It's us. We're real.
Right. So Nichole, I know you are absolutely 110% going all the time, very, very busy. How do you fit it all in, all this social media content?
Well, starting years ago, I'm that kind of AE that has always driven. So at a stop sign, I think you have a clip you could kind of play right now.
Yeah, let's roll that clip. It's
not safe to do this at home, you guys. This is for experienced account executives only.
And then we rely on Nichole to let us know where we're at with things. And then she relies on us to let us know from the inside office where we're at.
That was a hilarious clip, Nichole. I don't know if that was safe or not, but tell us a little bit about that clip. You were recording at the light.
Well, at the time, I worked for a subprime company. We were owned by Household Mortgage Finance, and it was called Decision One Mortgage. And every year, the top reps, they would send out a video crew, and they would play a video of you, they would piece it all together. I had probably about 4 years of them. They're kind of cool because from 20 years ago, we didn't have that kind of footage as we have today. It's kind of cool to have that. So It was actually a video crew following me that day, and they were interviewing my brokers, and then they play it at the President's Club. Basically.
That's awesome, and
so I was able to save those.
It blows my mind how much these video and marketing and all of these things have just evolved over the years. So I've been in marketing for 22 years, Nichole. So when you mentioned pagers, totally get it, right? Like pagers and just the old school way of doing things. And today, here at
Transblocks, stuff like that.
We've evolved marketing. I've been in mortgage marketing for about 8 or 9 years. And what we've been able to accomplish here in such a small amount of time with such a short window of, launch to now, right? 4 years of time. It's pretty, I'm pretty proud of where we are. And we continue to evolve. Here recently, we launched Brokers Market Better webinars to connect with our brokers and just showcase marketing. This podcast is meant for brokers and real estate agents and all the alike to attain the value and the tools that they need to do things. So we have a pretty cool marketing team. But you, like you said, you've been doing marketing. It's been part of your mix forever. Right.
As AEs, I feel like we have to have our hands in everything. But I feel like our marketing at Kind is like the best in the business. We're real, we're raw, we're fun, from our socials to our emails to our auto pings down to locking the litter up, right?
But account executives aren't typically, we've got a really good group of account executives here. Absolutely. Like just very receptive to new ideas, which is also helpful for us. But you yourself, again, you've been doing this for years. And so I'm really interested on how does an account executive, and this could be any account executive, any industry, what are you doing that's so unique to like plan content? Because I don't even plan it, Krish. You guys, I play off your brilliant brains, right? I might use your tile and one of mine. My content is strictly day in and day out. My wins, my brokers wins, my brokers loses, my loses. I feel that we should always be transparent and share because somebody is going to run into the situation that we're in today, right? So I share my wins. I share my Q&As. I'm very big about sharing agency updates. I put my face on a lot of stuff. There's a reason, we'll get into that, why I put my face onto stuff, but I want those words to come out of my mouth. And I think when COVID hit, that kind of jacked us up, right? Like we had to pivot. And good for me, I knew how to pivot that. So what I noticed about your social media, because I follow you everywhere, I think your content is just so unique, so great, and it's not earth shattering. It's hey, Nichole's saying, like you said, I want to tell people what the market's doing,
right?
Even if they hear it from 20 other different places, they've heard it from you in a shorter snippet, right? And a friendly voice, but. I don't imagine that you're seeking to have a bajillion followers. That's
I don't follow for I don't post for attraction at all. Like maybe somebody put it in their face, feels that they're doing it for attraction, but it's not. The algorithm likes it. End of story. And I've tested it, Krish. I've tested it. You don't put your face on there. I don't know if the algorithm just passes it by. I get more Q&As when I put my face on there. I don't know if they feel it's coming out of my mouth on there or what. But I'll take advantage of social media. Say like the husband's driving on the weekend, we're going on a 2-hour trip. I will post 25 a.m. posts to go out every single day on did you know? Or again, being at a stop sign, talk to your phone. Did you know, right? It's so easy just to throw your everyday content out there.
As a marketer, as I'm looking at your social media platforms, Nichole, it is pretty evident that you have incredible engagement. They're not drowning out you, right, from their feeds. They're commenting, they're applauding, they're asking questions. And it's become like, especially on Facebook, on your Team Foster page, it's become a medium of, hey, this is an additional place I can reach out to Nichole.
Yep.
And
And I always tell my LOs, man, because we are a busy desk. I'm not going to even mess around. I may not get to every phone call. It's impossible to even really check voicemails as an AE today. Usually, like, put it into perspective for what an account executive today, what we're seeing out here. And I'm sure the loan officers are like filtering through the stuff before even it comes to us. So I couldn't even imagine their job today. The deals are hard today. So if we're looking at 75 scenarios a day, we're maybe able to do 9 of those, right? But we're looking at the income, we're looking at the properties, we're looking at everything. So why not turn that into content? Why not turn that into marketing, right? LOs too. LOs can't get me. They may go to my Facebook and they'll find the answer there, because 9 times out of 10, I did a Q&A on it.
So it's become a repository of content for you.
Right. So it's to the point now where I could take content, assuming that the guidelines are still good. There a lot of the agencies, they change a lot, but for the most part, there's some really good nuggets out there that I could share that I shared a year ago, and people just forget about it, right? So I'm at to the point now where social media, where you could share content before and it helps today. So it's all on the fly, Krish. Every bit of my content is on the fly.
So,
and I will add, people remember people. They don't remember paragraphs. And at the end of the day, that's what I live by.
There's not a lot of, I guess, talking heads. I hate that word, but talking heads in the mortgage industry that are out there and doing this. Now, there are some in the retail world. There are real estate agents talking about things they probably shouldn't be talking about. I don't know, but we have Barry Habib. We have Rob Chrisman, Dave Stevens, rest in peace. We have some of those people. Glenn does it. Dell does it. You do it. I know enough to be dangerous, but I'm not an originator, right? So I don't know enough about it. But you mentioned something earlier, and again, I'm just going to go back to the pager, because funny enough, I still have the same phone number as my pager when I was 15, and I pay for 2 phones because I don't want to let go of my other Atlanta number. But if tomorrow social media just died, right? It just went away. Email, the satellite fell out of the sky, whatever the reason, business must go on. And you have, you probably know where everyone's office is. You probably know where half of them live. It's, how would you, what tactic would you go to old school if the digital component wasn't involved?
I've already done it. I feel like, being 23, getting in there, that's how we were raised, per se, in this business. It's all we know. I mean, boots on the ground, knocking on the doors. I will tell you a story, because I always verge off to like stories. There's always a meaning behind it, though. So when I was working at Stearns Lending, I wanted into this new build company so bad. And there's gatekeepers, Krish, out here. There's gatekeepers, the receptionists, they won't let you through the door. So I had gone there. I couldn't get through the door. I've called, I emailed, I did everything that the rep was supposed to do. So I started to think, I want this account. I want these new builds in my area. Like, I was always a purchase girl from day one. From 2000, I went out after that purchase money. I never really went out of the refi shops. So there's one shop in Fresno, California that I just couldn't get into. So I called the local balloon company. I printed a Stearns broker package and I sent that shit right into that broker shop.
Right.
It's crazy, because that's when Stearns was kind of getting a little bit dismantled. So it wasn't like the perfect timing. I feel like honesty. I was very honest with the gal. She filled out that broker package. We signed her up at Stearns. Freaking 45 days later, I leave and I go to Home Point. The whole thing got dismantled. The lady, I was upfront. I was honest with her. She followed me to Home Point, and she still uses me to this day. Why? Because it's honesty, right? I didn't give up. So boots on the ground, man. We go back to our basics.
Yeah,
it's fine. Social media. It's fine.
Total personal touch, though. Can you
Yes.
imagine if you had sent a text or an email? Would you have been able to salvage that relationship?
Yeah.
And no, right? And so, I'm sometimes people ask me, it's like, Krish, how are you a marketer when sometimes you talk about like anti-marketing? I was like, no, boots on the ground, knocking on doors, that relationship is still marketing.
Yep.
It's
I
still
still cold call to this day. I cold call. I don't know anything else. I'm just not really good about sending a broker an email like, "Hi, can you use me?" No,
even in an email, right? We talk about, drip campaigns and just, automation, 100%. And there is a time and place for all of that. People want to be responded to quickly, and you can, but yesterday, it was funny. I wrote this. I was, as we were talking about planning this podcast. I was like, I want to talk about going dark. Well, yesterday morning, AT&T went and Verizon went dark, right? And you saw it all over the news. And I can imagine that the folks that only relied on their phone didn't know how to pivot quickly. And that is in this business, real estate and mortgage specifically. It's all about speed. Everything we do.
Yes. And you got to learn how to pivot. It's just no different than your deals going south, right? Mm-hmm. You got to have that team that can come in and pivot. Perfect example. There's some big lenders out there, right? I won't say any names, but unfortunately, they get the first pick of everything right now. So SAEs, what can we do to win that deal? We be there for our broker. We be there when that deal's going south at one of those big banks. You help them to keep that deal there, right? Because at the end of the day, the better good is for the borrower. We're all doing it for the borrower. So my main thing is I'm going to try to help my loan officer keep the deal at that lender. And when they don't see eye to eye that I see eye to eye, I'm going to slam that shit down in 7 days. Because that's what we do for our brokers on Team Foster. We pivot. And we would pivot in the social media if it all went dark. It's no different. Sorry, I got off track there, but
no, you know what? I can hear the passion. I hear that passion. We're kind, right? So we're always 100% cheerleaders for all of our competition is good for us. And we realize
yes, absolutely. And I'm sorry, kind is nice. I'm just going to bring this up because being nice and being kind are two separate things.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So
that's my motto. I just love people. I love my job. People that call me, they may not interact with my post, but boy, do they see it. And boy, do they not hang up on that call without mentioning it. And
which is crazy to me because the amount of engagement that you get is just up through the roof. So to know that there's even more people that are responding outside of the actual commentary is mind-blowing as well. And you see the value in everything that you do. And that's why you probably are committed to creating that content. So I know you are very receptive to new tools, all the cool gadgets, the cool cars and whatever. Maybe you have self-driving cars and drones. I don't know. But I cannot escape the AI conversation. Back in October, Nichole, if you remember, I got on stage at the Vibe event and I said, AI. Thank you, because it is the buzzword of the century.
Yes, absolutely.
And I love talking about it. I'm trying to learn more and more myself every day. I've got to ask you, what are you like? Have you started already incorporating AI into your life, into the way you do business?
AI, as you know, I love the photos. Those photos on LinkedIn, some of them are me, most of them are AI. I have probably about 500 AI photos.
Wow.
Try it. If not, just try it for the bloopers, right?
Well, my profile photo is an AI photo.
How do you tell now? I believe mine on LinkedIn right now is AI photo. I don't even know if it's your AI anymore.
AI hasn't figured out the hands yet, so just look at the hands.
Oh gosh, the hands. There's some really fun bloopers. I have a couple AEs here at Kind that are women that showed me some bloopers, and not all of them come out perfect, but
are there any other?
I do utilize AI for the photos. once a year I do a photo shoot. I do feel that they're kind of expensive. You have to get dressed up. It takes a day. So I mix those with my AI. I really like Canva. Canva's got the AI built in it. That's kind of different from the photos. I'll take our marketing at Kind. I'll toss it into a Canva, maybe switch the words. I'm not a very good speller. I don't know. In that story and insight, I mentioned that I didn't go to 3rd or 4th grade. So not the best speller in the world. So I feel like the Canva AI is to me right now.
There's
and
a
then
lot
I
of
can help my loan officers, right? Build their Canva, help them with their AIs. So I really got into it just to put myself out there, because going back to earlier in the podcast, people remember people. And I want people to know that these words are coming out of my mouth. I'm here. I exist. Even with COVID, it kind of keeps us in the home a little bit more. You don't see a lot of brokers out there. So show your face. And if people don't like it, they can unfollow you. They can snooze you. Stop worrying about what other people think. So and I think that's what's wrong with the world today, right?
Yeah. I mean, people want things faster. And where I see AI, Nichole, today is it is solving some things, right? But it's not quite at the point of making decisions everywhere. And that's what AI is supposed to be doing, which it freaks me out, to be honest.
I have an LLC. Why aren't you afraid it's going to take over our jobs?
Well, and I
do mortgage. We could barely figure out mortgage right now with everything changing.
I was on for marketing specifically. There's a lot of commentary, a lot of podcasts out there already are talking about, hey, the robots are going to take your job, right? I was on my buddy's podcast here recently, and I said, well, look, if you're a video person, right, and you think that AI is going to take that over, a lot of the creative stuff is going to be taken over, you better be prepared to be the boss of that, leading the campaign. And so there's going to be opportunities to fast track things. I personally, one of my favorite things I do every Friday, I took a break for a while, but just kicked it back off, is I use ChatGPT every Friday. Like Yvonne sends out those weekly emails, our president. Well, I send out to my team a wrap about the week, like a wrap up of the wrap, wrap. That's like, and then last week I evolved it and I downloaded an AI rap beat thing.
That's cool.
And I dropped the lyrics in it that ChatGPT wrote, and it's very personalized. It's like, hey, Mackenzie did this and Shelby did this, and and it's just like a hoorah for the week.
Yeah.
And I think my team liked it. I don't know, but you can be creative and try.
Well, it's like Christmas, right? Like the 12 days of Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
That whole video that I built with everybody on the team, including the leadership, I built them into cartoons, right? And I did some voiceovers. That was like my big thing for tech, because I'm not really techie. I love books. I love to read the 4000.1. I'm that kind of girl. Like next month, this is off tangent, but I'll just say this. Next month, there was the 4000.1 class in Colorado. That would be a Taylor Swift concert for me to go to that class. I love guidelines. I love to learn. It's just something that I do. So if AI can somehow, okay, I'm just going to spill it. I'll let you know where I'm going. I have built out Little Mortgage Cloud as my handler, right? It went from just Docket to Team Foster to Little Mortgage Cloud. So I got like all three going on, right? Yeah. My team's huge. That's why I always say Team Foster, because these 15 people that work with me and our brokers, I couldn't do it without them. I couldn't do it without you. I couldn't do it without Team Foster, right? So
they are your AI.
Yes.
I mean that's your artificial intelligence, but it's the relationship there is. AI is meant to be text prompt. But today's instance of that is our prompt is to train up the folks who do business a certain way for us, right? That works. So in a sense, it goes hand in hand. I'm just curious how the mortgage industry, everyone's talking about where mortgage AI is going to go. Some people have already broken some ground.
Well, that's kind of where I was going with that. Yeah. Is I Little Mortgage Cloud. Okay. So I built out littlemortgagecloud.com. I own that. I wanted to build an AI that was me. Okay, so this is something that I'm going to feed my Q&As every month, and it's all going to be built behind AI technology. It's just going to be a really cool social experience for all things mortgage, right?
And you told me you just said you weren't a techie. Look at that.
I know, but I wanted to build this out because I feel like if you can't get a hold of me, or even my fellow AEs for that matter, that maybe don't work at Kind, they're our friends, right? Over 25 years, we built friends in this industry. There's loan officers that maybe aren't with my broker. They change every single day. So I wanted to build something out where they can go and they can ask it a question without bugging me. It's weird in the AE world because the law officers say, well, I don't want to bug you. I'm sorry to bug you. Don't be sorry. It's my job. It's my job to pick up the phone. It's my job to go over the scenarios. I don't care if you have to ask me 7 different ways. So I wanted to build out a website where maybe some people are a little bit shy to ask the question. So I built a website where brokers, loan officers, anybody mortgage could go into and ask that question. And it's filled with the agencies,
we're all consumers. No matter if they're a mortgage broker or a real estate agent, we're all still consumers. And we have been trained with these behaviors from the people we do business with, whether it's a chatbot, whether it's waiting on. If you can call a government agency and stay on hold or airline or whatever for 45 minutes, we're all a lot more patient than we think we are, right? So we're also willing to try these. We're forced to do it from the ticketing systems and all of these things. We're used to doing those types of business. I think that's very advanced of you, Nichole. I'm not surprised.
Well, it's like me in real life, right? On a website.
I'm not surprised. And you're taking the clone thing to the next level, I feel like.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm always thinking I just want to do like 9 things at one time. I have an issue. It's just that multitasking, man. And I think that's what makes me a good AE today is the multitasking thing.
Yeah, I think really, but we don't see the frustration or the pressure that you might feel because you make it feel also natural. So, Nichole, it has been an absolute pleasure. I could do this for a 3-hour episode at some point, but we're probably going to have you back on as you build out the
website. We'll talk about that whole littlemortgagecloud.com thing, but it's coming.
So thank you, everyone, for joining another episode of Krish Marketing Podcast. We are launching season 2 here. The next episode is featuring Jared Glant, president of Cardone Capital and Grant Cardone's right-hand man. So we're super excited to have him on. And as always, stay curious and keep marketing.
Thank you, Krish.